Welcome back to another edition of In Ohio Country Today. Our feature stories this week are about Grow Next Gen. It's a project sponsored by the Ohio Soybean Council and Ohio soybean farmers. They focus in on modern agriculture education. And Grow Next Gen helps connect students to different career fields in the thriving ag industry. Teachers wanting to introduce science and agriculture curriculum in their classroom need trusted resources and connections, and that's also what Grow Next Gen is all about. Once again, it's sponsored by our friends at the Ohio Soybean Council and Ohio soybean farmers. We'll have those stories and more this week in Ohio Country Today.
I'm Terry McClure, a fifth-generation soybean farmer. Farming can be tough, but we have the Ohio Soybean Council investing farmers' dollars to find new uses for soybeans. Their research helps develop better beans for livestock, poultry, and for people. It also helps create new products like soy-based cleaning supplies and paint cartridges. Plus, cleaner burning soy biodiesel reduces our dependence on foreign oil. Soybeans are Ohio's #1 agricultural export. To learn more, visit soyohio.org.
Allen Davis Insurance Agency in Wapakoneta and Minster is your solutions provider. You can trust the experienced professionals at Allen Davis Insurance to protect your assets. Call today and start saving money with multi-policy discounts and more for auto, home, life, business, recreational, total farm protection, and more. Call Allen Davis Insurance Agency in Wapakoneta and Minster. We are your solutions provider. Call 1-800-686-2148.
It's a humble idea. Use a biological process to turn a plant into a power source. From that idea came the first Poet Refinery. One biorefinery in one town turned into 27 facilities in 27 towns, creating new local jobs, producing hundreds of millions of gallons of ethanol, and providing renewable products around the world. Suddenly, that one little idea seems a whole lot bigger. See the world differently with Poet.
S&S Volvo is your locally owned heavy-duty truck dealership in the area with a full line of Volvo and Isuzu trucks. We offer Volvo, Isuzu, Cummins, and GM parts and service weekdays until midnight until 4:30 p.m. on Saturdays. We also have leasing and rental options to meet your needs. We have the expertise to get and keep you on the road. Stop by at 2600 St. John's Road or visit us at ssvolvo.com to see our wide selection of new and used truck inventory.
And the reason I keep coming back to these seminars and looking for these seminars is because they're so practical and so well put together, and there's so much information that you get and free materials that you get, it's just hard to pass up.
Oh, cool, soybeans. Like, when I came here at first, I was like, soybeans are, I didn't know what soybeans really were, how they impacted everything else. And so I get really excited now when she said, hey, we're going to do a soybean lab. And I'm like, yes, because it's so fun to experience the different things that it does. Like, you can make chapstick, lotion, soap, anything. And I didn't realize that before I came here.
It was fun because you got to tell these kids, like, everything you're using pretty much is made from this one plant, and that you may see it everywhere, but it's a really good thing that you do because we can use it for so much.
I love the Grow Next Gen website. The opportunity to educate people about what we do is just tremendous. I want an educated consumer, and it's necessary for us to go and let others know what we do and how we do it.
To actually come and see it and talk to the farmers and know, out of their own mouths, they were talking about how committed they were, not to just making a buck, but to make sure that they are growing nutritious and healthy food, and at the same time being conscientious about the environment.
Really, the hit-home piece of it was that those teachers are going to go back and take this information to the classroom and work directly with their students. I know those teachers have a lot of influence on the youth of our community and from a career standpoint. So they explored careers, and I had the opportunity to interact with a lot of teachers on career path and just the expanded opportunities in the agriculture industry.
Just the fact that these are professions that my children can go into. The biotechnology, and it's just wide open. And so I'm really interested and going on the Next Gen website and looking at some of the videos. So I can show these to my students and say, these are some other careers that maybe we didn't think about and maybe you didn't know about that you can go into, you know, that's connected to soybean and connected to agriculture.
I thought before this, it was just kind of like farming and stuff like that, and I wanted to be like a scientist and like stuff. So now that all the experiments that I've gone through, I realized like there's like fields for like STEM and agriculture that I had no idea about, and that's like kind of opened my mind a lot more and had like a broader perspective on everything.
Well, I played the cello and I wanted to be a musician or go into music of sorts. And then when I took Miss Faldry's food science class last year, I was like, this is really cool. Like I could do this. And so I loved when I went over there every day because it was the end of the day, you know, that's always exciting to start with. And then as I went in, I was like, I loved the lectures, I loved everything else. So now I'm thinking about careering in food science.
United Equity Inc. is your locally owned farm-based cooperative. For agronomic services, we offer seed and a full line of dry and liquid fertilizer, as well as soil sampling by soil type, grid, or management zone to best utilize your fertilizer application. Call us to discuss agronomic services customized for you. Reach your best yields with United Equity, serving Allen, Auglaize, Mercer, Putnam, and Van Wert counties. Visit us on the web at unitedequityinc.com. Automate your existing sliding doors with Propel Automation of Ohio. Automate up to 60-foot twin sliding shed or barn doors with their award-winning patented system. And now Propel Automation of Ohio is part of Ohio AgriBility Program, allowing Ohio farmers and farm families who are coping with disabilities or long-term health conditions to automate their doors. For security, safety, convenience, remember Propel Automation of Ohio. Check us out on the web at propelohio.com.
I'm Denny Hall. I'm the director of the Ohio Bioproducts Innovation Center. Graduated from North Union High School. Studied agriculture there and came to Ohio State University where I studied agricultural education and agricultural economics. In the case of Ohio, most people don't realize that Ohio ranks #1 in polymer employment. Polymers being paints and coatings, cleaners and detergents, rubber, adhesives, also things like natural fibers and using natural fibers, soybean hulls as a composite material blended with plastic resin to give it different performance characteristics. We know that there is some limit to the amount of petroleum that's available. And so to be able to identify materials that are grown right here locally or can be utilized right here locally is an important option. The bioproduct industry is one that connects everything from agriculture and agricultural supply all the way through agricultural processing, to specialty chemical manufacturing, to polymer manufacturing, to product development and manufacturing, to retail. And so you could be an engineer, you could be an agronomist, you could be a communications marketing person, you could be an educator, you could be in any of these kinds of biotechnology areas. We need specialists in each of those areas to kind of help satisfy this whole supply chain of opportunities. OBIC routinely employs students right here in our work. Collectively, since 2005, OBIC has helped to support research scientists, OSU staff, OSU students. Over 200 students, staff, and faculty members have received funding to support their work in the bioproducts arena. From my perspective, young people need to get really excited about bio-based technologies. Obviously, you're going to have to do well with math. You're going to have to do well with sciences. You know, chemistry is a big one for bioproducts. There are so many exciting opportunities in the bioproduct area. If you love this industry, if you're excited about this opportunity, there are lots of ways to connect. Opportunities are incredible for young people to start thinking about the ways that we capture what we think of as waste and reuse it into new marketable products that people value. One of the things that I think young people can do is look in their own community. And I'd be willing to bet that in their community there's an agricultural organization, a company that's in agriculture, or there's a polymer company, or there's a chemical company, or there's a product manufacturer. And visit the plastic company, visit the polymer company, visit these kinds of chemical industry people and say, to what degree is bio-based important to this company? And so always looking for ways to lessen the cost of the bio-based materials is an important area of work. One of the things that's really interesting about the industry of agriculture is that people think you've got to be a farmer to get into that industry, and that is just so not true. You can make hundreds of things from a soybean, and you don't have to be a farmer to know how to do that. You just need to learn about the chemistry and the physics of grinding and separations and distillation, etc. So there are lots of opportunities. You don't have to be a producer of corn and soybeans to utilize corn and soybeans to do lots of things that are important to the world. Certainly food, energy, fuels, biodiesel, ethanol, but also the whole area of bio-based products, a completely new domain for entrepreneurs and individuals aspiring to make something more sustainable.
The Ohio Soybean Council and the Soybean Checkoff established the Soybean Rewards Program to provide Ohio soybean farmers information, research, and other resources about yields, premium opportunities, new varieties, disease and pest management, conservation best management practices, and much, much more. For more information, check them out on the web at soybeanrewards.org. That's soybeanrewards.org.
It's a humble idea. Use a biological process to turn a plant into a power source. From that idea came the first POET refinery. One biorefinery in one town turned into 27 facilities in 27 towns, creating new local jobs, producing hundreds of millions of gallons of ethanol, and providing renewable products around the world. Suddenly, that one little idea seems a whole lot bigger. See the world differently with POET.
Allen Davis Insurance Agency in Wapakoneta and Minster is your solutions provider. You can trust the experienced professionals at Allen Davis Insurance to protect your assets. Call today and start saving money with multi-policy discounts and more for auto, home, life, business, recreational, total farm protection, and more. Call Allen Davis Insurance Agency in Wapakoneta and Minster. We are your solutions provider. Call 1-800-686-2148. S&S Volvo is your locally owned heavy-duty truck dealership in the area with a full line of Volvo and Isuzu trucks. We offer Volvo, Isuzu, Cummins, and GM parts and service weekdays until midnight until 4:30 p.m. on Saturdays. We also have leasing and rental options to meet your needs. We have the expertise to get and keep you on the road. Stop by at 2600 St. John's Road or visit us at ssvolvo.com to see our wide selection of new and used truck inventory.
My name is Stephen Hart. I'm Executive Director of the Soy Aquaculture Alliance based out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and I was born and raised in Toledo, Ohio. I had just taken an aquaculture course as an undergrad and immediately just fell in love with it. As I got into graduate school, I really started to look at nutrition as my area of interest and working with fish and figuring out how are we going to overcome the limited resources that we have globally. So it's really groundbreaking research working with soybean meal and feeding those to fish. So that was kind of my big moment where I realized this is something I was really interested in pursuing long term. Global demand for food is going to increase, and we're going to need a lot more protein for two reasons. One, because population growth, but two, because we see a very large growing middle class. Seafood is kind of seen as a premium protein, and as people move into that middle class, they really start to demand even more of that premium protein. But in addition to that, when we look at dwindling resources and that higher demand on those resources, fish really becomes favorable because of the ability to convert feed. And then when we start looking at trade, this can become really critical. Soybeans are already the US's #1 traded ag product. And we're seeing a high demand for soy going into aquafeeds. There's so much seafood demand going on in Asia that we're really going to start to see less and less seafood available in the US. So there are many different ways to farm fish. The really old traditional way is pond production. That developed thousands and thousands of years ago in China. We see other types of production practices. If we go out to the west, we start to see a lot of river production. The farmers out there take primarily rainbow trout, and they grow them in these long tanks that are called raceways. One new thing that's really coming up over the last about 10 to 20 years is indoor production. And we're seeing a lot of these here in the US where the farmers are actually moving the fish inside barns and growing them in tanks. Well, just like agriculture, there are a lot of jobs within the aquaculture industry as well. There are the on-farm jobs that are kind of similar to what you'd expect to see in agriculture. But in addition to that, there are numerous other careers. You can work nutrition, you can work finance, you can work through a lot of the different supply industries that give equipment, so engineering, all different types of areas. This is a global industry. Seafood is one of the largest traded commodities, and as kids are interested in this and maybe want to get into global careers, marketing seafood is really an area that could be of great interest. 90% of the seafood coming in the US is imported. We also export a lot of seafood. So getting involved, working for those distribution companies and getting out there, you're going to have some real opportunities to get international exposure and experience. So some core curriculum that is really going to be required for anybody who gets involved in this industry is really the science and math. I cannot stress that enough. Those types of classes really strengthened me and made me able to go into this field. And while they're not necessarily the most exciting classes to take, they're really going to be the foundation for your career. So I would highly recommend that if this is something that you're interested in, really explore those sciences and maths, because those are going to be the curriculum that give you the strongest foundation for your future.
United Equity Inc. is your locally owned farm-based cooperative. For agronomic services, we offer seed and a full line of dry and liquid fertilizer, as well as soil sampling by soil type, grid, or management zone to best utilize your fertilizer application. Call us to discuss agronomic services customized for you. Reach your best yields with United Equity, serving Allen, Auglaize, Mercer, Putnam, and Van Wert counties. Visit us on the web at unitedequityinc.com.
Rusty Orban, I'm Resident Vice President for CSX for Ohio. I've been with the company 6 years. I grew up in a little town called Swanton, Ohio in Fulton County. Graduated from Hillsdale College with a bachelor's degree. Received a master's and an MBA from Ohio State.
My name is Jim Wellman, and I'm currently president of Wellman Seeds and also Wellman Farms. We export anywhere between half to 2/3 of the total amount of bushels that we produce in any one given year.
Demand for Ohio soybeans reaches across national borders. The farmers that grow here locally, in a lot of cases, their consumption markets may be in Asia or in the Near East, for example. So facilities like this provide a direct link on the transportation supply chain in order to reach those consumption markets overseas.
Our customers at this point lie in Japan, Singapore, Taiwan, Malaysia, and Indonesia. So that part of the world is where most of our products are utilized.
This facility here provides that starting point for local farmers in order to reach those international markets. So the railroad provides a very efficient, very direct route from here into the deep water, both east and west coast ports, and then on to the international markets from there. So in terms of employment opportunities on the railroad, you'll see many, and a very diverse set of opportunities available for anyone at any education level. Whether you're in the operating department and actually driving the trains, or you're working on the maintenance of way team and you're working on the line in the railroad itself, to folks that are engineers that handle design, bridge engineers, for example, that manage our 16,000 bridges across the network. Or you could work in corporate support. You could be an accountant, a lawyer, just about anything that would support then the company overall, our ultimate goal, which is to provide efficient service for our customers.
The job opportunities are endless. You can start with your farm supply companies. There are many agronomists who work for them who advise farmers and assist them through the growing of the crop through the year, from truck drivers that will move the containers from the intermodal facilities all the way along the whole trail that these containers take. There are job opportunities. So for young people today, it's really an exciting avenue to go and look in some of these agricultural positions.
The railroad industry provides a lot of opportunities for folks that are just graduating high school. Degree standards vary. I mean, it depends on what folks like to do and whether you work with your hands or your mind. The fact is there are still opportunities for everyone if they have an interest in working on the railroad.
Automate your existing sliding doors with Propel Automation of Ohio. Automate up to 60-foot twin sliding shed or barn doors with their award-winning patented system. And now Propel Automation of Ohio is part of Ohio Agribility Program, allowing Ohio farmers and farm families who are coping with disabilities or long-term health conditions to automate their doors. For security, safety, convenience, remember Propel Automation of Ohio. Check us out on the web at propelohio.com.
Welcome back. We're here at the annual Buckeye Farm Antiques Tractor Show, and with me is Doug Smergy. And Doug's standing here with a tractor that's pretty near and dear to his heart. You know, some tractors have a connection, some don't. This one does have a lot of connection for you. But you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Doug, and then we can kind of talk a little bit about your connection with the tractor.
Hi, my name's Doug Smergy. Here with Smergy & Sons. Here with we bring all the tractors here. I'm one of the grandsons of all the brothers that are the owners of all these. So I'm with all the brothers of the tractors.
Well, you know, like I said, some tractors have connections and some don't, but this one has a special connection to you, and I'd like you to just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this tractor came from my grandpa, Dan Schaub. We farmed on it, baled. I was behind the baler with it, many acres. Baled a bunch of acres of straw with it, and while he drove, and even before I was there, they drove it, and he stacked behind it. One day we got a bigger baler, and this quite couldn't handle it, so it kind of got retired back to the shed. We ran the auger with it and stuff like that. Come to a time, well, the head gasket went out in it, so it kind of got put on the back burner, really didn't get used. I wanted to use it, and Grandpa said, well, I'll give it to you. Said, take it on your project yourself, redo it, get it running again, and he said, you can have it. I was flying on cloud 9 at the time. I was 12 years old, and I had a tractor, and I wanted to do something with it. So we got a new, we redid the motor, got a new head, got it running. I redid a lot of gaskets in it. So I wanted to use it. I cultivated probably 50 acres of corn with it. I wanted to work all the tweaks out before I got it all repainted because I didn't want to leak or anything like that. So after about 3 years of using it, getting all the tweaks worked out of it, got it running good, and me and my dad decided to, we're going to restore it. It took a little over a year to get it all sanded down, power wash, all the stuff, the hard labor that goes into it, the amount of labor hours that you have and stuff like this. My dad paints all of our tractors. He does a wonderful job, and it was a kind of a family thing again. With my dad's a painter, other uncles, they work on the motors. I mean, each brother has their own specialty in our family. So I mean, it's nice that all of us are together and one can come over and help us figure out the whole situation. So yeah, I'm real grateful for my grandpa giving this to me. We took a picture of it before we restored it, got that, and we took a picture after, and he passed away this last February. And I put him back on the seat to drive it home one day. His eyes lit up, and he was so proud, not of just me, but just to seeing what it could be. So yeah, that made me feel good too. So yeah, that's a little bit of story behind this one. It's pretty close to the heart, and it will never leave.
Well, Doug, that's always something. As I said, with a lot of these pieces of equipment, either you, like me, you drove them when you were a kid, or you have some connection. And my grandfather owned this piece of equipment or owned that piece of equipment. So it was nice visiting with you. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate it for being here.
Allen Davis Insurance Agency in Wapakoneta and Minster is your solutions provider. You can trust the experienced professionals at Allen Davis Insurance to protect your assets. Call today and start saving money with multi-policy discounts and more for auto, home, life, business, recreational, total farm protection, and more. Call Allen Davis Insurance Agency in Wapakoneta and Minster. We are your solutions provider. Call 1-800-686-2148. That's going to do it for this week's edition of In Ohio Country Today. For more information about Grow Next Gen, check them out on the web at grownextgen.org. or go to soyohio.org, or of course you can come to our website at inohiocountry.com. Have a good day, everybody.